On today's episode of WatchJRGo, I bought a bunch of new equipment for the WatchJRMow channel, and I probably shouldn't have. All this orange stuff. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and today, like I said, we bought a bunch of equipment for the mowing channel. The first day we went out to do the first yard, I was like, well, we need all new Stihl equipment, right? Because we need to have the best equipment on the internet. Everybody else has off-brand trimmers, you know. I would call Echo an off-brand, like Matsushi or whatever. There's like 4 or 5 gas trimmer brands out there, and they all, you know, historically have paled in comparison to Old Orange. And I'm here to tell you guys today, I'm probably never buying another Stihl product that's not a chainsaw. This has been a nightmare. All right, guys, here on the table we have Eric's FS100RX. We have my brand new FC91 and my brand new FS91R. These were all bought in one transaction, new, and I would say they both have a handful of minutes on them. You can tell that they have like dust on them, and that's it. Not much grass or anything like that. We're gonna restream this one today. But I just wanna talk about these two trimmers because I thought it was gonna be the greatest thing in the world having brand new commercial trimmers to rock and roll with the mowing channel. Obviously, we all know Stihl chainsaws are it. They are the it chainsaw, and they are absolute rock stars. And when I was a little kid, Dad took us to the same store where I bought these Stihl trimmers, and we picked up Stihl's like biggest handlebar weed eater to do the yard. And it was an absolute monster. It was like FS160 or something like that. This thing was huge. It weighed a ton. It was a pain to carry without a strap, so you'd have to have like a shoulder strap on, and then we'd be out there just swinging that thing all day long, and it was literally unstoppable. It was like having a mower blade out in front of you. And that was with string, not with a metal blade on or anything like that. So I spent 2 or 3 hours on Stihl's comparison tool before we went shopping for these. I was like, we want lightweight, but we want all the power and just, you know, nice commercial trimmers. And their comparison tool and also the numbers don't really make any sense because like the 91 weighed a little bit less but makes more power than the 94 or something like that. There's a whole bunch of weird things with these trimmers. And I think the reality is maybe the numbers do actually make sense and bigger number better. But we went with the 91 because it was slightly lighter, and as you guys know, you want to be carrying the least amount of weight you can while having the most power you can while you're trimming. So we've used this edger for like 3 lawns, 5 minutes on the first lawn, maybe 10 minutes each on the second lawn and third lawn, and then this one, this trimmer might have 30 minutes on it total here. Because Eric is fast with the trimmer, right? We used to run a lawn company together, and I will do the mowing and he will do the trimming because he is insanely fast. It hardly makes sense for me to trim because honestly, I'm just slowing us down because I don't know, he can like move continuously and I have to like come in and take little hits to make sure that I get everything right. I don't know if it's like an OCD thing while you're mowing or something like that, but you know, Eric's looks better and he goes twice as fast. So I'm just being honest, you let him trim because he's flying. And I would bust out the 91 and help where I could here. And the whole time I was using this thing, I was like, gosh, it's just not great, right? The edger, like you have to back the edger off all the time and let the RPM come back up like 100% of the time. This trimmer doesn't edge well. It bogs down super hard if you try to spin it sideways and walk through an edge with it. And then while I was doing my house 2 days ago, I had to trim an insane amount of trimming. And first of all, the Easy Cut auto tap head here, it doesn't work well. It's been wound like 4 times to trim for 30 minutes. It's super annoying because it's not like I don't know how to wind these heads. I've done it so many times. And for some reason, this one is a nightmare. And honestly, lately, for the last like 4 years, I've been using my Milwaukee trimmer, which loads correctly, where you just pull in like 10 foot and twist it a bunch and it's done. Which is honestly, at this point, all trimmers need to be loaded with that twist mechanism. Not the one where you push the button that Ego uses. I'm not a fan of that at all. But where you just shove the string through and twist it, it's perfect. That's the ideal loading setup. I know the professionals will come in here and say that they're faster the other way. It's not possible. It's not physically possible to be faster than the way you load the Milwaukee, except for the power loading. But with that said, I don't know why, but this thing does not like to unspool right, and it also loves to like throw out half empty string. It'll just chuck it, even though it was wound nice and tight. Like when I wind these, I try to even put the layers the way you'd roll up like a garden hose perfectly. Whatever, this thing just doesn't load well and it doesn't pay out string well. So when mine quit working, I just ran over to Eric's truck and grabbed his FS100, and it was like stepping into an alternate universe. I promise you guys, this FS100 somehow, which is, it's only a couple notches of step up, right? Like these are long gone. I think this would be like a 109 or something now. I don't really remember offhand, but this thing must have double, at least double the power that the FS91R has. It doesn't make any sense. This trimmer is unstoppable, and this trimmer bogs down the second you touch tall grass. It's just over for it. It can't do anything. And I knew the edger was like that. I just wasn't expecting that something was actually like wrong. I thought, you know, these are the best trimmers. Why aren't they doing the work? And then it made me quickly realize the Milwaukee also seems like it makes more power than this FS91R. Sure, it goes through a battery like every 8 minutes, but it's still making more power, and it can keep the trimmer head speed up enough that you can really go through some stuff, right? So today we're gonna reload this thing. I'm gonna show you guys the nonsense that is the FS91, and I'm also gonna recommend never buying any of Stihl's trimmers like this again. Eric says that it's all the emission stuff, which I sort of believe, but his trimmer's not that old. I don't know if there's a year on it, but it's not like, it's not way pre-emissions here. These all have spark arresters on their exhausts, RXZ brush cutter, auto cut. I don't see a year on here, but it's honestly like, the FS100 is not that old. It might be 10 years old, but you know, it's not 20 years old when there were no emissions rules for two strokes. The FS100 says it's a 2014, so it's 10, 11 years old, and this one says that it barely pollutes. So maybe this does have some like ultra garbage emission standards that make it a worthless trimmer. So it says the lower the index, the less the pollution. The index is 2, which is very low apparently, because it's 2 out of 10. And I really don't know what moderate, intermediate, extended means there, but this one's extended. All right, let's see what's going on with our line spool here and why it doesn't want to work correctly. There it goes. So it did throw half of the roll there, and we'll just throw away everything that's left in here. But, you know, this thing's brand new. It doesn't have any time on it. There's no reason that it should be having any hiccups with the line payout. I just don't understand what's up with this trimmer. This is the worst experience I've ever had with one. And, you know, I didn't really need to make a video about this because I don't know anybody that's not buying electric for their houses. But if you have a big yard and you're thinking, I'm just gonna go grab a Stihl and cut all day long, well, maybe you're not, because I'm telling you guys, I'm not having a good time with this thing. And if you are, maybe you should go buy an older Stihl. I've had tons of their lineup before, even like the baby homeowner ones with the easy start and all that stuff, and those all seem to make more power than this 91 makes. And there's a chance that it's just tuned wrong, but the dealership threw the fuel in it. It's still like on the original fuel from the dealership, which is the Stihl premix or whatever premix they had there. They started it in the store and checked everything. I really have no idea how it could be a tune issue unless they're just way, way off out of the box. So, like I said, we're gonna roll this up nice and tight. We're changing over to the X line that I use in the Milwaukee here. This is Stihl's line too. I think this is Echo's line. As soon as I get the spool rewound here, we're gonna take this thing out and I'm gonna show you guys what's going on with it. Because even from the moment it starts, it just doesn't sound good. It has the right fuel mix in it. I don't understand how a Weedeater could be this bad. Like, it's just not that hard to cut down grass, trim out around a couple of trees in my mailbox. But this thing cannot do it, and you know, while we're doing these other people's yards that are out of control, it really, really, really struggles. More than I've ever seen anything struggle, and this 100 just powers through it like it's nothing. So that's kind of killing me that we spent nearly $1,000 on these two, and they just don't work. These are gonna go up for sale like immediately too. Brand new, no hours on them, worthless. If somebody else wants to go play with new Stihl, maybe they're a homeowner with smaller projects to tackle, they might be in, but I can tell you guys, I am not in for the nightmare that these have caused us. They don't work. So that's all I was here to do, was say, don't go buy new Stihl. It seems like it's over for them. And what everyone's buying all these off brands now, like Matsukumi or whatever they are. I don't even know. All kinds of crazy trimmer names out there, but it's not Stihl, who should be the best in the world, and apparently aren't anymore. I hate to say it, because I bought these because I'm in love with them. Okay, we're all loaded up here. Get the snaps in. Let's start this thing up. I'm gonna show you guys what it sounds like. And just from like when you hear it run, I think you'll understand something's wrong. It just never sounds good. And it's not like we're not running it on choke. Nothing's wrong. They just don't work. So let's fire it up. I will give them credit for this. It usually starts by the third pull, ultra reliable. A little priming action right here. And we'll go to start choke position. There it goes. Oop. You guys hear that, right? It sounds like absolute garbage. Like, sure, you can hear a little bit of popping as it's at full throttle. Probably that could just still be like warm up jitters there, but it never turns faster than that. It doesn't even sound right. It sounds like it's running half throttle. It has no power. Absolutely gutless weed eater. Worst decision I ever made. And I don't get it. So we're gonna start up the FS100 now, and you'll see that it sounds like a race bike. It sounds like an absolute champion, and it cuts like you wouldn't believe. This thing, like, it feels like half throttle, wide open throttle. And as soon as you try to shove it into some thick grass, it doesn't even recover. So you have to like yank it out of there. It can't clear its own head. It'll like clog up with trash. Worst weed eater I ever bought. The Milwaukee would be like, yeah, whatever. All right, so here's FS100, same drill. At least this has the start too. I much prefer start being down here. And we'll turn the choke on, give it 2, 3, 4, 5 primes. There we go. We shot plenty of gas in there that time. We're gonna start this thing up, and you'll hear like immediately that this sounds like twice the man that this one is. This thing warms up, it has to warm up for like 3 seconds, and it has full throttle, full power. It sounds better. All I know is these 91s ain't it. Maybe I should have bought the new 100s or something like that, but they weigh an insane amount. And this 100 doesn't weigh anything. I think Eric's actually weighs less than mine. Maybe it's because they threw all this extra plastic on the new ones, but it just doesn't make any sense. The FS100 was a champ, but also it's 11 years old, like we just said, and these 91s are literally just worthless. That's all I can say. So if you're shopping for weed eaters, I'm not the weed eater review guy, but I can tell you that my Milwaukee will pretty much run circles around this FS91R. It could be a tuning issue, but they need to show up running. Like you shouldn't be buying $1,000 of weed eaters and taking them up straight out into production and finding out that they don't work right. And the Edger is the exact same way. It's always bogged down. It doesn't like have a full throttle. It doesn't make any sense. So it could all be emission stuff. But if it's all emission stuff, then we should be buying electric because these are worthless. And also, this is a much better trigger interface with the start position than this is. This is like uncertainty, right? Like how are you supposed to start it? All the old ones had this start setup, which is ideal because it holds the trigger at like 5%. And then these ones just kind of hope. I don't know what they're doing for the start position anymore. Like maybe the weed eater is in the start position until a certain RPM that like throws out a little adjustment on the carb. I don't remember if these are the IntelliAdjusta carbs or not, which is part of Stihl's new stuff, but I wanted that. I think we went for it. I don't really remember at the last second. We went for these because they seem like the perfect amount of weight and the perfect amount of power. And now I know that the weight's fine and the power is non-existent. So, and maybe they try to keep the noise down by running them slower, but if that's the case, like you can't, because they don't make any power, so it takes like twice as long to do the job. Anyway, I'm putting these things on Marketplace, except for Eric's, that's 100 times better. He was like, I haven't had to do any maintenance on that like the last 5 years. He was like, I just haven't touched it. It's time for a tune-up, but we keep running it, and it runs so well. So anyway, we've all been there with trimmers. You know, as a kid, I used to rebuild these things, 2 strokes day in and day out, mostly the Weed Eater brand ones, right? And you know, we would flip those. We'd buy broken ones, rebuild them, sell them, and then use Stihl because it's the best of the best. And now, maybe it's all about the old Weed Eater brand. But the reality is it's about the Milwaukee, and I really think I need the dual battery Milwaukee, and it solves all my problems. And put Forge batteries on it or something. Sure, it's not like ideal for a commercial environment, but at least it doesn't bog down and it runs full speed. So that's my Stihl experience. Don't buy them. I don't know what else there is to do. Maybe you have to buy the TMU ones or the off-brand ones. They might be better. I don't know. I do know most of the lawn care companies have abandoned Stihl, but when I read all that, I was like, you guys are insane. You're just trying to be cheap. Maybe they were right. Maybe being cheap's the way. That is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. The Edger does work on my yard, as long as the yard's already maintained, and I do need to change the blade. The blade lasted like minutes, but we're always searching for edges normally with it. If you have nice edges, this thing's a rock star. But if you have to dig at all, it's worthless. And this thing, don't even try. It's not even good at weed eating, which is like the easiest thing to do.